I'm not gonna lie to you. I honestly forgot about the original model of Pacifista and the fact that there were more models that came out afterwards. I obviously didn't forget about Pacifistas themselves. In fact, in the One Piece card game, Pacifistas are a pretty decent strategy thanks to Bartholomew Kuma and Sentamaru, but that's neither here nor there. But what we did forget is that the Pacifistas are a programmed project by Vegapunk himself. Hello, Internet. I am the hero of Julios, once again with another episode of One Piece, another chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1074, Mark 3. The art for this chapter is a continuation of the Vegapunk flashback. I know it's considered the Germa Double Six Emotionless Voyage, but honestly, it's the Vegapunk flashback at this point. But the artwork depicts the other three scientists. You got Queen, you got Judge, you got Gas Boy. Am I forgetting his name? Caesar! Of course I forgot Caesar. And their perpetual battle to be the second best. I like the way Oda worded that, implying that even the three of them kind of knew they would never be number one. So it's just a battle between the three. We actually see with Judge's spear going through Caesar that even back at this time he had the power of the gas fruit. So he's had the power of gas for a very long time. But enough about that. Let's get into the actual chapter itself. So the chapter starts with the Cypher Pull agents getting completely obliterated by a Pacifista. And they bring out their big guns, they're shooting with the best things they got, and the Pacifista sort of like just does like a whoop from his hand and creates this squishy, goopy substance that's just absorbs the blows. And we learned from one of the Cypher Pull agents that this is in fact the bubble shield, the most impenetrable defense that Vegapunk has ever created and has given to the Mark III models of Pacifista. Now, it's interesting to think about this because we know that there were the Pacifistas, like from before the time skip, and we saw those same Pacifistas be attacked and destroyed by Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji when they first came back and showed how much stronger they got. But that was like the Pacifista Mark 1, and I'm gonna have to do some research. I might talk about Pacifistas in another video at some point, but I don't think I remember ever hearing about a Mark II model, unless Seraphim are considered like a Mark II, and then Mark III, while less powerful than Seraphims, are still like a class of their own. Or maybe like Mark II were the ones with the scanners. No, because they had scanners at the first time. Maybe the Neo Pacifistas that the Neo Navy had in Film Z are technically Mark II. Whatever the reason, I'm not exactly sure what Mark II is, but these are Mark III, and they are scary. The only thing we find out about them is the bubble shield thing, but that alone is enough to know that they are a real threat. And what's more, they're being commanded by Sentamaru, who is alive, and we all kind of knew that was going to happen. Let's face the facts. Unless you show us a dead body, or you show, like, the picture of them dead with, like, the Japanese style photo with the little arcs on it to show that this character, like, this is their memorial, they're dead. Unless it's explicitly stated dead, they're not dead. That's typical One Piece for you. But Sentamaru is alive. I'm happy about that. And he even has a brief moment where he's thinking about how Luffy promised to get him off the island. Or not him, but Grandpa Punk. And he tells the Mark III Pacifistas, go on, protect your creator, and make sure he gets off the island. Which raises a question for me. The Seraphims, they have a specific hierarchy of who they obey, with the whole control chip thing, and then followed by Sentamaru, then Vegapunk himself, then the five elders. So does this mean that Sentamaru can give a command to a pacifista and it has like the same hierarchy rules? Perhaps, which could explain why Cypher Pull agents haven't been able to stop them, and since Lucci and Co. are all the way up here, they're not going to do anything about what's going on here. So the Cypher Pull agents are pretty much out of luck. There's no one stronger than a pacifista on that level that can't control them aside from Sentamaru. So it looks like the path off the island is clear. Now it's just getting out of the Labosphere. On the note of up in the Labosphere, we see a Luffy tired and, just confused because he's been looking all over the place. He kind of slumps over in his seat and he's like, I've looked everywhere, guys, and I haven't found Bonnie. And Shaka, sitting over by his computer, is just like, oh, she's here. Yeah, I've been watching her on the security camera the whole time. Yeah, so she's here. We just don't know where the Stella body went. So, I assume maybe the Stella body went and did something else, but I guess there goes my theory of the two of them literally disappearing into the memory vault, because if Shaka knew where Bonnie was, then the Stella body disappearing is a completely different phenomena compared to what's going on with Bonnie. But as Shaka's telling this, we get to see that the entire crew is finally back together again. Stussy, Zoro, and Brook have new outfits with the Egghead Island clothing making machine, and I gotta say, Brook and Zoro look pretty good. I like the weird half helmet thing that Brook's got going on here, even though he's a skeleton and doesn't need air. But Zoro looks pretty cool, and Stussy's like Nami and Robin. It's just a nice little outfit. I think I think the Egghead Island outfits are cute for the girls and pretty cool for the guys, but I wouldn't put them above or below anything else I've seen in One Piece. But everything widens out into this bigger picture that shows us, the crew's back together. We see that Atlas is actually fine. She's okay. They repaired what was wrong with her, what the damage Lucci did. We see that York is apparently twice the height of Brook. So on top of every other reason to love York, she's also tall, and that's just a beautiful quality right there. But the funniest part of this little picture is you see Nami down in the corner. She is kicking the crap out of the unconscious Rob Lucci. All the while, Robin looks genuinely concerned, like what if he wakes up kind of worried, because you gotta remember, Lucci and Kaku are awakened zones, which means they get enough naps in, they're gonna wake up at full HP. So that's pretty terrifying. But Nami, of course, Nami and Usopp are both on the mentality of, if the enemy's back is turned, or if they're unconscious, or if they can't hurt me in any way, I am the bravest person you will ever meet, as long as I am safe. So Nami's venting out all of her frustration from today, from yesterday, from the Ennis Lobby incident 2 years ago. She's just letting it all out, and I think that's hilarious. That's probably something I would do similar if I was in that situation. Maybe not as much. Actually, no, I'd probably be more like Robin. Probably just trying to calm her down. But regardless, that was pretty funny. So with the whole crew back together, they decide that there's no harm in trying to split the party and find where the Stella body is, since the major threat of Rob Lucci is down, Kaku is down, Stussy's on our side, and all the other Cypher Pull agents are down below where the Labosphere will protect us, and the Seraphim obey Vegapunk and his satellite bodies. So there's zero threats here, which is why Nami is actually the first to suggest that we split up and everybody go look for everyone, and I'm going to go look for the treasure. So she walks off. I believe she takes Brook and Frankie with her. But the next search party that walks off is Stussy and Sanji, because obvious reasons. Sanji's got someone new to flirt with, so he's obviously going to take advantage of this opportunity. So the two of them go off, and then Zoro decides to go off, and is immediately stopped. First by Sanji, telling him, okay, that's great. If you find the Stella body, who's going to find you? And then Chopper chimes in and says, no, this is a complete waste of our time. You stay right here on the couch with Luffy while he's resting, and we'll go search. And even Robin chimes in with could you just be a nice little dearie and just wait for us? That would be wonderful. So Zoro is forbidden from joining in the search parties, and he just takes a seat on the couch with Luffy. The two of them are sitting there in the most disrespectful photo I've ever seen. You just see Luffy and Zoro chilling on the couch, and then Rob Lucci and Kaku just unconscious on the ground in front of them. It is shown just how far they've come, that the two opponents that, well, maybe not Kaku, but the opponent that left Luffy so physically tired that he could not move. Like, his crew had to pick him up and move him for him. Now the two of them can defeat these guys in a single afternoon and chill out on the couch together. Like, that's, I'm saying a lot. I'm saying like a lot today, but it's just, it was nice. It shows how far they've come. It's a major progress report of how the Straw Hat crew is doing as a whole. But with the Stella body missing, there's still the question of, what is Bonnie up to? Bonnie is in the middle of a big white void by herself until she hears the sound of a crying child. She walks over to the child, and this child is an absolute unit. This is a big boy. Even curled over crying, he is still taller than Bonnie. And as she gets a closer look, she realizes that the crying child is none other than her father. Bonnie is currently inside the memories of Bartholomew Kuma. As the kid continues to cry, a bunch of other people come up to him and they tell him, hey, don't make this hard on us too. We got to get you back, or else they'll kill us. And the kid responds with, no, don't make me go back, because if you make me go back, they're just going to kill me anyways, so you might as well kill me here. And we see silhouettes of people beating the kid and some celestial dragon silhouettes, and no matter how hard Bonnie tries, she cannot get closer to the memory. She is just running in place towards the memory as hard as she can, and is eventually expunged from the memory bubble. She gets up, she says, okay, I might not have the willpower for this, but I need to know the truth. And she gets back in there. All the while, we see more side-by-side footage of Bartholomew Kuma climbing the red line. So by the time Kuma climbs the red line and does what he needs to do, Bonnie's going to learn the truth and the reason why he's doing that. And it will, most likely, it'll be just in time for the Bartholomew Kuma body to die. And then the memories can be put inside the Seraphim, and Bartholomew Kuma can be born anew with extra power! Ha ha! I'm still banking on that theory that the Seraphim is the real Bartholomew Kuma now, but that's just, I'm not going to let that go until proven absolutely wrong. But even then, that's not where this chapter ends. We see Pythagoras, another search party, who has actually gone alone to go look, and he is walking and he looks at the damage done by the Seraphims and he says to himself, it is really ironic that the Seraphims did so much damage to this place considering they were born here. Like, that's really wild. And emerging from the shadows behind him is a single footstep. And then there's an explosion, and we don't know what happened to Pythagoras. So Atlas is fine, which implies that Pythagoras will survive this as well. But there's another enemy on the island. Unless this is the ally that Vegapunk asked for help, like a Shiryu situation, where it was like, Magellan was like, I got no choice, I gotta let Shiryu out. Alright, you're out, go, come on, help us. And as soon as he left, Shiryu was like, yeah, kill people. So yeah, that could be the case. It's potentially Lilith's doing. Maybe she's like fully evil, like this is my opportunity to take out the rest of the Stella bodies, and I will control the pacifistas, and I will be the evil genius of the world. Maybe, possibly. I feel like if she is as smart as the rest of the Vegapunks, despite, her morally lower level than the others, I feel like Lilith would be smart enough to know that there is no benefit to getting rid of the other Stellas, or not Stellas, the other satellites as well as the Stella. Yeah, you have all the knowledge in the world, but now you're one of one again, and you don't have the other 6 knowledge leaking into you every day. So I feel like that's not the best course of action, so it's probably not Lilith. There might be another enemy abound, but for now, all we know is Pythagoras is in trouble. But even then, That's not where the chapter ends. The chapter ends with Morgans, the big news bird himself, telling us that, hey, we got a big scoop this time, that CP0 is off to kill Vegapunk, and Vegapunk is being protected by Straw Hat Luffy. Don't know who his man on the inside is for this insider information right now. That's kind of crazy, but he's like, this is the biggest big news, because Vegapunk is loved by the world. So when the world finds out that the world government is trying to kill the world's most loved scientist, it's gonna stir up trouble, which is why this is the headline we'll use instead. Straw Hat Luffy declares war against the world government, kidnaps beloved scientist Vegapunk. Oh, that'll sell the newspapers, he says. And then somebody chimes in and says that's BS. Straw Hat Luffy would never do something like that. And that person is Vivi. Vivi's okay. Vivi's alive. Vivi is fine. She's got this cute little outfit on that you actually see a girl in the background is like, oh my gosh, Nefertari Vivi is wearing my clothes. I will never wash my clothes again. Ah! It's funny. But Vivi's okay, which is good because, well, I mean, we already knew, well, I guess we didn't already know Vivi was okay, but now we know Vivi's okay. This does break my theory that Sabo had saved Vivi or that Bonnie had saved Vivi. So we still don't know what's up with Sabo. Cobra might actually be dead. That would suck. But for now, we know Vivi's okay. And Vivi is sitting in Morgan's balloon, and I guess he took her in to like protect her, which is really funny because he tells her like, oh, you're gonna tell me how to do my job when like yesterday you were crying. And as the two of them are arguing, a third party says, Vivi, no, you can't, Mr. Morgans was so nice to us, and you can't, like, say our names out loud, because, what if the surveillance transponder snails pick up on us, and the government comes and takes us away, and it's Wapple. I mean, I guess Oda had to put Wapple in the story somewhere, so, yeah, it's Wapple. He's alive. That's great. Maybe he'll get decked by Chopper in the future, maybe not. I feel like Wapple's evil, but now he's the owner of his own kingdom, and I don't know, the people that live in his kingdom are probably happy. Like, it's not like Wapple has to keep the doctors anymore. He's got so much money that he doesn't need to enslave his people anymore. In fact, he probably has some, like, foreign slave labor in a country that's, like, totally okay with. Regardless, Wapple's alive. That's great. The important thing we can pull away from this, though, is Morgans is definitely a fan of what sells the papers. He's been telling the truth for a while because the truth has been really, really good. But we learned that because Morgan will, he'll change the truth. He'll make a different headline. And as a result, the world government will pay him to change the truth to make them look good. So, unfortunately, Morgans is not the wonderful true journalist I thought he was, but I'm not as shocked as I thought I would be. Regardless, this is where the chapter comes to a close. Wonderful revelation about Vivi. Still don't know where the Stella body is, but fortunately we got a new chapter next week. We don't have a break. So, thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.